have learned quite a bit since I started this channel. And as I learned, I began to feel differently. Naturally, I suppose. Someone in the comments the other day asked me to explain why I started this channel as OmoIgbo the Agnostic when most of my videos are labeled as Black Atheist. Valid question. The whole atheist versus agnostic labeling thing. I would have the same question. Here's what happened. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Someone also asked me to pronounce my name, I think. Well, I am OmoIgbo, humble to have you watching. Shout out to all you beautiful, amazing human beings who have shared your stories in the comments. With your permission, I really would love to share them at some point. I definitely think more people than just myself or whoever ends up reading the comments should hear about some of your stories. So as usual, if you would like to stick around for that, make sure to click the subscribe button before you head out. In the comments below, let me know what you think about my label switcheroo / updating story that I'm about to share with you and what your experience was like playing around with some of these non-belief labels. I would love to hear from you. Okay, thanks. I deconverted at age 19 after having been brought up in a pretty religious Pentecostal household. And my transition into the non-belief realm wasn't exactly a crash landing or one single aha moment. It was kind of a slow burn on that one. Like, I understood that I couldn't or wouldn't believe all that other stuff anymore, but I didn't quite put all the words together in a definition with a label for the longest time. It was me just not going to church anymore, not going through any of the motions, and also not caring that I wasn't anymore. And then slowly creeping around the internet looking at deconversion videos, trying to see if there was anything that resonated with my experience. So I was not really thinking about labels until like, when did I start the channel? 2019, so 2 years before that, maybe 2017-ish. It's like 5 years after the critical turning points. So it wasn't until about 5 years almost after I turned the corner into non-belief that I really started to think about actually utilizing labels. Meaning when I actually started to call myself anything related to my beliefs. One of the biggest factors in me deciding that I needed to pick a label was because of this channel. First, I had to figure out how to explain how I even ended up leaving Christianity, which that by itself is a pretty large task. Articulating how you went from completely believing in something to not believing in it at all. Especially since, like I said, it wasn't one aha moment for me. It was a multi-ish year process with seeds having been planted since childhood. After I had figured out how to explain what had happened, I then had to decide what to call what I believe right now. After watching many videos on YouTube, I decided that I also needed a label. So me, coming fresh off the train of religiosity, I don't know, I suppose I actually just didn't feel confident enough to enthusiastically reject God or a God, which is what at the time I felt that the term atheist was all about. I was looking for a label that said something like, hi, I'm new in non-belief land and I've just learned that I've been lied to for, well, my entire life, and I am really glad to be here and I'm gonna look around a little bit, but for the time being, I can't really say what's what. Okay, thanks. And so atheist just felt way too strong. So I shied away from it. And then agnostic, man, I can't even tell you the first time that I heard that word. I have no idea how that word came into my life. All I know is that I liked what it meant. I felt like fundamentally it represented what I was trying to get at. A level of uncertainty that I felt comfortable with. So when creating this channel, I went with OmoIgbo the Agnostic. Nice and simple. I was not ready for atheist. That is probably the best way that I can explain it. I wasn't ready because I didn't know what it meant. I wasn't ready because I didn't like the representations that I had seen. And I wasn't ready because I still was grappling with the negative connotations that other people might place on me because of this label. All of that. This sun is fucking up my feng shui. Can you just sit already? I had to get comfortable in agnostic land first. I also had to sort out everything that I believed to make sure that I understood it before labeling myself any further. Two big conclusions that I now feel very confident in explaining, at least to y'all, are: one, I don't believe it is possible for human beings with our current tools and our current setup to know for sure if there is or is not a godlike something or supernatural world. And two, I don't believe in any of the gods or doctrine that humankind has put forth thus far. So I am an agnostic atheist. And there are people out there who are agnostic theists, people who operate purely out of faith. fine. And then of course you have people who claim they've been able to prove or disprove a God. The Gnostic theists and the Gnostic atheists. I'm not a fan of either of those people. Because to me, the idea of a God is such a wild fucking concept, right? Some entity that exists outside the understanding of science and beyond the realm of measurement. That is figuratively mind-blowing. How are we supposed to describe something that, by definition, cannot interact with our five senses in any way that we are able to capture? And if there is a God being somewhere, what gives human beings the audacity to think that they have figured it out? Christians are really trying to tell me that a God created the rules of our reality and then messed it up? And then this God figure decided that we needed to use bloodshed to atone for our sins. And then it realized that that was too messy. So then he sends himself to earth in human form to prove that he's better than us. And then he has to literally die in order to metaphorically shed blood for all of us because, sorry son, those are the rules of the game. And you just have to believe all of that and tell Jesus that you are on his team forever, so that when you die, they put your physical body into the ground and your metaphysical body ascends into heaven, which is what? A magical land filled with milk and honey? For eternity, a nice round number. But if you don't tell Jesus that you are on his team forever, then when you die, your metaphysical body will go to hell, which is what? Hot and unpleasant? Again, for eternity. Infinite time. And then what? Amen, the end? That is a lame story. Yeah, I said it. It definitely sounds like human beings made that shit up. Especially when I haven't seen any reliable proof about any of this. The only idea of a God that makes sense to me is as an incomprehensible entity, period. Anything beyond that I would call a made-up explanation. But I digress. I slowly warmed up to the label atheist because it's accurate. I don't believe in a God. Some people get real prickly about the specific definition of atheist. Are you telling me that you don't believe in a God, or are you telling me that there is no God? I get it. Believe you me, I get it. I have been there. Those hairs can be real fun to split. And sometimes for good reason. I get it. And for the record, when I say atheist, I am referring to that first definition of I don't believe in a God. But let's be honest. If I'm living my life like there is no God because I don't believe in a God, then the logical conclusion is that I must be pretty sure that there isn't one. I'm not hedging any bets here. Like, how am I actually supposed to live day to day with one foot on either side? It doesn't make sense. I live like there is no God. And that is what I appreciate about the term atheist. It sends a clear message that I am not confused about the God thing. If there is a God, I don't believe that my actions have any effect on it. It's not worried about me one single bit, and it's not worried about you one single bit. If it did, all this praying and rituals all over the religious spectrum would have produced some results by now, and they haven't. I also had to get over the perceived negative connotations that came along with the term atheist. Yes, outwardly it presents as predominantly white, male, slightly to moderately angry, argumentative, dry even, but that's just one segment. It's not a prerequisite. Anyone can be an atheist. Just don't believe in a God, and you're in. I guess it's like with any other part of identity, you just have to get used to it. Accept it and embrace it. The more videos that I made and the more I heard from other people about their experiences with this stuff, I realized that I felt proud for the first time in my life about this side of me. Because I don't talk about this stuff often in my day-to-day. YouTube gets the lion's share of these thoughts. I have never introduced myself as atheist or agnostic to anyone in real life, I don't think. Now my immediate family knows, but most people outside of my family don't. I haven't had live conversations with many people about it. So having this space really helped me sort through and embrace my beliefs. And I am grateful for that. I am grateful because I am reminded daily now that we are not the crazy ones. Not believing in something that hasn't been proven is not a crazy thing. We really are living in a warped reality where belief in essentially magic is the default. That's crazy to me. We don't know if this shit works. It's not a bad thing to say that you don't know. It's not bad to refuse to conform. It's not a bad thing to ask questions. It's not a bad thing to be unconvinced. It's not a bad thing to want proof. It is not a bad thing to want to know truths. I keep agnostic as the primary title of my channel because it's a part of me that I feel embraces wonder, and it's where my creativity comes from. I do like asking and answering the question, what if? I do sometimes keep hope alive that there's a juicier story out there, and I do like separating what I think we can know from what I don't think we can ever know. There's a part of me that continually challenges any and everything in my life that I might consider as truth. I always ask myself, is this truth knowable? Is any truth knowable? How do we know that? However, Atheist speaks to my confidence in saying no to the gods that human beings have made up. And lastly, Atheist just works better for the algorithm, I think. Several months ago, I made a video called Black Atheist, Don't Call Me an Atheist. I talked about a lot of other labels beyond just agnostic and atheist that non-believers may find helpful when trying to describe their beliefs. Check it out if you get a chance. So tell me, what was the process of trying to decide which labels to use like for you? Did you ever feel turned off by the label atheist? How did you come to terms with it? Have you come to terms with it? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Share this video with a Gnostic theist. As usual, people, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so you can alert when I post my next video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!